All right. We've got our Tigers Mount Rushmore. David, who do you got?
All right, Tigers Mount Rushmore. This is one of those classic franchises that have been around forever and ever and ever, and their history has been strong. They don't have a whole lot of championships under their belt, but they have had a whole lot of great players over the years. My number one, arguably one of the best baseball players of all time, definitely one of the meanest, Ty Cobb.
And don't forget the most racist.
Yeah, maybe he's probably right up there with a few of them. Absolutely amazing baseball player, right? He's one of those guys. Just go to his baseball reference page, and it's just absolutely amazing what he did in his career. Came up at 18 years old in 1905. I mean, MVP in 11, Triple Crown in 09. Four times led the RBIs. Just amazing. Angry baseball player. Let's put it that way. Angry. How would you describe him?
Racist, evil.
Why is that always the first thing that comes to your mind? Who cares at this point?
Listen, if they're going to be talking about Barry Bonds and the steroids and keeping him out of the hall, then I'm going to highlight the fact that this man was not a good man. He was not a good human being. He would sharpen his spikes to make sure that guys would get hurt when he slid into second base. He was a talented guy, but a douche. He makes Trevor Bauer look like Santa Claus.
I think a little bit different generation too. I think then, like, a lot of things he did was more acceptable. I don't like the whole racist part. I'm not going to make an excuse for it, but I think a lot of the other stuff was a lot more acceptable, and they just kind of knew it. He is 6th all time in WAR in Major League Baseball history, behind Babe Ruth, Walter Johnson, Cy Young, Barry Bonds, Willie Mays, and then Ty Cobb. Henry Aaron, the great Hammerin' Hank Aaron, is behind Ty Cobb.
By the way, one thing
God, his page, his baseball reference page, like, he is the highest batting average of all time.
Second highest now.
Is it?
Yeah, because Josh Gibson, they made him the highest, which I still don't agree with. I'm sorry.
And they're indicating he still has a higher.
Based on who? Wikipedia?
Baseball reference.
Interesting, because they made it so that Josh Gibson has the highest, which I have a major problem with. Did you ever see the movie Cobb, by the way?
I did not. I want to. I mean, there's every reason why I should.
It's a really good movie, and it's got Robert Wool, who I absolutely like, and Tommy Lee Jones plays Cobb. Yeah. It's not easily found, by the way. It's pretty hard to find that movie these days, but if you ever have the opportunity to watch it, it's definitely worth a watch, and it has a good cast.
I mean, the dude hit 419, 409. Yeah. Like,
have you ever seen anybody in Major League?
Worst year, dude. He was 41 and hit 330, 323.
Well, they did ask him later on in his life if he played in the contemporary era, what he would have averaged, and he said, I probably would have averaged like 270. And they said, wow, but your lifetime average is like 340. And he said, well, yeah, but I'm 70 years old now, so I can't hit 370 anymore.
He hit 401, and that didn't even lead the league one year.
Crazy. Hey, I wanted to ask you, though, have you ever seen anybody hit the way that he did? Because he had that split hand approach when he was hitting.
It's a different day and age, man. I understand it, though, because it's a lot easier to control the bat and put the ball where you want, and that's what baseball was back then.
The reason I ask is because every time I think about Ty Cobb, I think about Ichiro, because they basically were,
compare each other a lot.
Yeah. So I was just wondering if you ever saw Ichiro try it in batting practice or something like that.
Nope.
All right, let's move on. Who do you have next?
Al Kaline.
Al Kaline. Tell me about Al Kaline.
Al Kaline, he's one of those guys, again, if you look at Baseball Reference, you go down towards the end where it says awards. It's basically like he didn't ever win an MVP, but it was every year was like 2, 3, like 5, like 10, 2, like absolutely incredible baseball player. Played from 53 to 74, almost 100 WAR, which is amazing. 22 years in Detroit, ended up hitting 297 with one home run shy of 400, 1,500 or almost 1,600 RBIs, 18 all-star games. 18, James.
That's pretty
Dude,
damn incredible.
played 22 years, 18 All-Star games, 10 Gold Gloves, won the World Series in '68. Numbers obviously retired, one of the best baseball players of all time.
Plus the fact that he played that long in Detroit, never got shot, he should be amazed with
Absolutely
himself.
amazing. Again, it's one of those things though too. Like he had some very, very good years. Like one year he had exactly 200 hits, hit 340, MVP number 2, MVP number 3. He was always up there, but just never had that one year that was just a monster separator from anybody else. He wasn't. I don't want to call him a compiler, not a
No,
compiler by any means, but he was just really good for a lot of years.
trying to give him a comp right now, and I'm trying to think who. You know what? I'd say he is a better version of Fred McGriff.
I'll give you that 100%.
Or Rafael Palmeiro. Never the best guy in the game, but constantly putting up numbers year after year, but not the guy.
Yeah.
Okay. Who do you have next?
Okay, so I'm going to go back in the day again in the 20s and 40s. Charlie Gehringer.
Okay, tell me about Charlie Gehringer because I know nothing about him.
Nothing?
Nothing.
All right, well, again, he's one of those guys that was just a constant MVP guy, right? Just nonstop. Again, absolutely impactful on every single team he played on. Played his entire career in Detroit as well. Won the MVP in 37. Was a 6-time All-Star, won batting title, won an MVP. Like I said, won the 1935 World Series. One of those guys that just played and just did great every year. Was just a huge part of those Detroit Tiger teams. Those are great teams too for a long time. 19 years. Very good teams almost all of those years. Ended up hitting 320 with 1,400 RBIs. Had one year where obviously he won the MVP, won the World Series, but it was like every single year. I mean, look at this: MVP 8, MVP 5, MVP 4, MVP 9, MVP 6, 2, 6, 4, 10, 14, 23, 1, 17. Like every year, one of the best in baseball.
All right, the next guy on Mount Rushmore, I'm going to give you a little grief about this one because there's 4 guys on Mount Rushmore. You can't choose 2 for the last spot. So you have 2 guys over here. I'm making you choose one right now. This is bull.
I'm not going to choose one.
You're choosing one. There's 4 guys on Mount Rushmore.
To me, I think it's so unique and so cool. Lou Whitaker, Alan Trammell, what they did together in the middle of those 80s or 70s, 80s lineup. I mean, dude, they came up together and they finished basically 1 year apart. Like, how cool is that? They came up in 77, finished in 95 and 96, where Lou Whitaker was 95, Alan Trammell was 96. If I had to choose one, I don't know. Here's my problem. I am not a Detroit Tiger fan. Mm-hmm. I can't tell you which one of those guys are probably more beloved by the fans. I don't know. If I had to guess, I'd say Lou Whitaker.
But I just Alan Trammell.
What'd you say?
I think it might be Alan Trammell.
That's the thing. I don't know. Both of these guys are absolute amazing studs. I just think it's so cool that they were such a core part of the teams. They were together. They were shortstop, second base, like together. I mean,
all right. You know what? I'm going to make an
man. How cool is that?
No, it's not cool. I'm making an executive decision. Since you can't have 2, I'm getting both of them out, and I'm putting JV in the final spot.
No.
I know JV was your next man up, but I can make the case because we just played a little game earlier today. We were talking about Kershaw versus JV versus Scherzer, and JV kicked the crap out of them in most categories. So he moved up into the Mount Rushmore for me in Detroit.
Well, here's my problem. Is Verlander, while amazing in Detroit, I mean, he left and had some of his best years in Houston.
That's
the problem. Like, he won 2 Cy Youngs in Houston. He won 1 in Detroit. That's where.
Fine. You don't want to put JV on the 4th? That's fine. But make a decision. I'm not giving you this garbage with 2 guys.
I'll go Lou Whitaker.
All right, fine.
I'll go
So
Lou.
Lou Whitaker. So
I'll
the
just
next
go Lou. But again, like you're leaving out how beautiful it is to have them both. I also like I got Verlander as first man out, and I also have a Hal Newhouser together as first man out. Again, you're going back in the day a little bit. I don't want to just skip him and skip how good he was.
but how can you be the first man out if there's two of them? That's the first, second man out?
They're together. They're
Stop!
absolutely even. I don't want to skip with. They're both incredible. He won the Triple Crown. Was an MVP 2 times. Like he over 200 wins as a Tiger, which is a lot more than Justin Verlander has as a Tiger. That's that's my thing about it is like to me, I actually probably would have Hal Newhouser, but I also want to spread the love out to different generations, and that's why I wanted Justin Verlander.
Okay. Detroit Tigers fans, if you're watching this, please, or any baseball fan, if you're watching this, put something in the comments. Tell David that there's only 4 people on Mount Rushmore and this garbage isn't going to fly. And let us know who your top 4 is, because I'm extremely pissed off at this back and forth garbage that, Dave thinks he's going to be able to pull off today.
Fourth, save it.
David, do you have anything else to discuss before we go?
Yes, I do. We have a guy on the current roster who could possibly make this list.
I wonder who that could be.
Right,
Let me guess. It's Tarek Skubal. I thought maybe it was going to be Spencer Torkelson.
Well, hey, man, if Torkelson ended up actually playing on the level like he could, you never know. Tariq Skubal, again, he's behind the 8 ball. He's already 28. And again, incredible year last year, Cy Young winner, 18 wins. Amazing year. He's got to do that for like the next 8 years.
Yeah, that's all.
That's it. That's in all reality. Like, and even if he did it the next 8 years, like then he's tied with Verlander.
Well, if you can't do it for the next 8 years, I know a softball team that could use him in Brooklyn.
Right.
All right, David. Pretty good show. I was going to say great show, but unfortunately, your Mount Rushmore just pissed me off. I got to be honest, because I'll tell you the reason. Because I've been having this argument with a Yankee fan, and he's telling me, "No, Jeter's on the Mount Rushmore. You have to have 6 guys on the Mount Rushmore." I'm like, no, there's 4 guys on Mount Rushmore. You can't
Mount
make
Rushmore's 4, and I get it. I just think it's so unique, like that they were together, shortstop, second base.
All right, so you know what? When we get to the Yankees, put 19 guys on Mount Rushmore. You carve that freaking mountain.
No. Yeah, I got 4. I've got 4.
Wait, so you got 4 for the Yankees and you have 5 for the Tigers?
Yep.
I can't wait for this.
There's nothing like that on the Yankees. There's no like second base or shortstop, and both were almost exactly even in every stat. Like it's just not the same.
Okay, fair enough. With all that being said, I'm James the Greek. He's David Ardsma. I'm pissed off. See you next week.